We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that'd be cool if you can get back on there and then get some more
Hi,
time. Hi,
Jay.
Pam. How you
This is
doing?
beautiful thing.
I'm
Yeah.
a fan of you too.
There we go. Three-way. Just like that, it's magic. Welcome to the Thunder Road Show. Dan, this is the first time we've done a phone interview style or a peer.in. Usually you're at the studio, and I told you it's in far west Texas. You were like, screw that. That's too far from Seabrook. I'm not coming.
Right. That's a little bit of a drive. I mean, we're used to drives though. We're not worried about the mileage.
I
But
know.
this is way better. Yeah. Drinking on the job.
Yeah, but I
Working
like
job.
having you in the studio because you bring me stuff,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I need more of because I've kind of ungrown, if that's a word, my shirts that you gave me.
Yeah. Yeah. It used to be like a 4X or something.
3X, yeah. And even some of
Yeah.
the 2X's are getting
You
too
look
big.
like a 4X.
Yeah, I was huge, dude. And that's how you met me, huge. So it's
Yeah.
probably weird now, like, who's this guy?
Right.
So, enough about me. Let's talk about 580 index racing. Dan, you are a pioneer and an innovator and helped create the 580 index stuff, and which is now 7.0 with 7.0 index. Now people are doing 650 indexes, 490s, 480s, 550s, 5.0, whatever they want. They're putting on index races that's heads up, and you take the throttle stops off and the delay boxes, and y'all get after it. You just know your car, and you got to run that fast. And when you started this with no prep, you had a little bit of I don't know, fear of doing it at no prep. And tell the fans that are watching about our conversation that we had, because we brought 580 to the Lone Star Resurrection race.
Well, we had some local stuff that people have been doing for years and years, and I got into 580 index racing. You kind of get in where you can fit in, and saw an opportunity there to grow the sport and with index racing. And so I started to, rather than put my money in magazines for advertising, I decided to put it in the pot and try to promote it. And it went well. I've got to admit, it's gone well. I don't know if I'm a pioneer about that, but certainly we've put a lot of energy. Pam and I have done a lot of groundwork, and we think about it, and we sponsor stuff with our printing company, and we sponsor it with our cash. And we're just trying to grow the sport in general. So it gives us a lot. We're trying to give it back. It's kind of a two-way street. I mean, I know we have a lot of loyal customers that recognize that we give to the sport, and they use us in return. So that's how advertising works. And in the meantime, it's really growing the class. And so when we first did it, we tagged on to Dirty South No Prep. And Mike Murillo and Scott Taylor are just, they're awesome. They're the best. And so they welcomed us, and we do all their printing, and we help with all their sponsorship, and try to help organize and bring racers. And then our next big step was, actually Dig Night was probably one of our first ones also in conjunction. And then we went for Redemption, and they had no index racing at all. And of course, Shannon Morgan is an index racer, and she had the opportunity to bust my ass one time, which I, owe her one, and up there in Dallas. But anyways, we approached her, and she was wide open to the idea. And now there's index racing. There's 2 index racings on Friday. There's 2 index racings on Saturday. It's heads up. The crowd loves it. They're starting to get their favorites, and there's big payouts. Last year, in Redemption, we raced for trailers. The pot was $2,500 last weekend on Saturday night for the 6.0 racers. I'm not real sure what the 7.0 racers were racing for, but they're putting up some good numbers, and a lot of people are coming out, and the payouts are good, and it's just promoting racing. I mean, every car that you get in brings more people with it and more interest. So, of course, we here.
I love it. That is the biggest dog I've ever seen in my life.
He's the best dog in the world.
Oh,
He
that's
is. That's my
cool.
Rex.
That's
That's my
awesome.
boy.
How
That's not
much?
actually my boy. That is Pam's boy,
How,
and he will let you know in a hurry.
dude? You got to bring him to a race.
Oh, we do. We do.
I,
Well, we didn't. He'll be at Dig Night,
okay, very
but
cool,
yeah,
dude. That's awesome.
yeah.
I mean, that
He
guy. You could ride that dude.
well, I mean, yeah. I mean, well, I can tell you this: if he decides to go, you can't hold. I can't hold him.
How much does
There's
he
no way.
weigh?
He's about 155.
Oh wow,
Yeah, he's a rescue dog.
beautiful Great
Just
Dane. We need to
oh
post
yeah,
a picture of him on the Thunder Roadshow page so people can see how really big he is. But it's cool.
yeah.
I mean,
He-
you know, Mike OC. I don't know if you saw. I played the video from this weekend at Dirty South No Prep, and you know what I was getting to though was you were a little nervous about running 580 index at a No Prep, and I was like,
yeah,
look, dude.
yeah.
We'll run you after the big tire and the small tire. Y'all are
Right.
filler. You
Right.
know you're filler. But
Right.
I have come to love the index guys. You know why? You don't oil down the track. You
Nope.
don't slow down the show. You don't take
Nope.
forever waving the doors and banging
Nope.
through the motor and
No.
you know sitting there
It-
as an announcer and trying to announce races when they're sitting there and they're waving the doors and getting all the smoke out and they're banging it through the motor and revving it up and it just
Oh, that's cool though.
it's
That's
cool.
way
It adds to the show. But I like it when y'all don't do that and y'all just do a burnout and y'all are staging and
Yeah.
every now and then you guys will have a random staging line duel, who's going in first, and that makes it interesting as an announcer. I love that because it gives me something else to talk about, and it's easy to get the crowd pumped up when there's a staging line duel and you're cheering for them. You can't even hear the people yelling, "Go, go, go!" But you're in the car and everybody's cheering and yelling, and who's going to put it in the beams first, and it's a lot of fun. But
Right.
the index stuff is. And you've said it. You've come on the mic with me in interviews and at the races and said you got to watch
Right.
it from the big end.
Yeah, yeah, it's super close. I mean, these guys are way good, but the most exciting thing about it is it's wheels up. Most of it is wheels up, heads up. I mean, they're neck and neck all the way down the racetrack. So it's kind of small tire and some other stuff. You know, sometimes people will get way out in front of it, but the index racers are always nose to nose, and so. I was apprehensive about it because it was a no prep. Of course, I've got a very clean Camaro, and I don't want to hurt it. So I was a little sketchy about, what is a no prep? Well, I went out there, and I mean, my 60 foots were just as good as anything. I mean, by the time we get out there, a no prep just means that the track isn't sprayed. It isn't, it's just a raw track. But by the time they have us come out there, I've never had a problem. We had a little bit of an issue last weekend, but that wasn't due to the car or anything. I mean, we had a little problems with the track, and
The track was really
I know.
slick. Let's just get it out there.
Yeah,
They scraped
they're
it.
going to correct that.
They scraped
Yeah.
it, and
But
it
that was very, very rare.
Yeah.
Very, very rare. The scraping had nothing to do with it. The scraping was on the bottom end, and everybody was taking off like a bandit. And but it was the top end was skating around, and there was something on the track or whatever. I'm that's not my deal, but I know that I talked to Mike Morello, and they're addressing it, and they're going to correct that situation.
And
that's not gonna happen
it's
again.
got Jim Hughes has been on the show and he's explained how he does it at Tucson, and I've seen it before. I saw it in Memphis when they scraped the track. You could walk up there and there was still glue on top of the concrete,
Yeah.
so it was still real sticky. And as you
Right.
know, when you're doing a burnout in a parking lot like at NRG, or when you're doing it at on a good concrete surface, and you're using
What about
V8
NRG? NRG was the wildest thing in the whole wide
Yeah.
world. Oh, please, God, do that again. That was the coolest thing that ever happened. Skating across NRG parking lot with NRG in the background. Oh, my God. That was the coolest
Dig
race I've
Night
ever been to.
NRG was something that we will never forget, and it'll probably never happen again. And we got to
Right.
experience it and talk about it. And everybody else in the state and in Oklahoma said that's stupid. Somebody's gonna get killed. And we had the best time. It was filmed for Street Outlaws New Orleans. It was the first gig I ever announced,
Yeah.
but it was amazing.
Everybody gets in that car in a no prep. except for very few. Everybody knows everybody. We've been doing this a long time. Everybody's an experienced, seasoned racer. I mean, nobody wants to, run their stuff into the wall or get hurt. And I mean, we haven't had any serious injuries that I know
Yeah,
of.
in your 580 group. Yeah, for sure. I mean,
so,
very, very rare do y'all hurt an engine. And you know who usually oils down the track at a no prep event is a local guy who gets into small tire with his car that's not a regular.
Yeah.
They do a big wheel stand because they underestimate the starting line, smash it down, and that's typically what most of the oil downs, or the guy's really going at it hard, but it's not the index racers. But talk about how you were able to pretty much single-handedly convince everybody to take the delay boxes and throttle stops off.
Well, we've been doing that down here for a long time. I mean, the
SNS Index did it, right?
Up in Dallas, and then the Index Racing down here. We've always never had throttle stops, and some allow delay boxes. In the delay box thing, I'm kind of okay with. I mean, because we can cut lights without delay boxes. If you need a delay box, then that's not gonna be James Few. Yeah. That's not going to be, where they were 008, 013 at the last race here, which was a prepped 4/10 tree with no delay boxes. They were 008 and 013. One ran a 580 with the 6, and the other one ran a 580 with the 4. Okay, that's not going to help them.
A delay box really doesn't help you on a pro tree anyway.
I mean, it could if your car was really hot, but it's still not going to. That's not the deciding factor. But we are in the racing business, yes, as racers, but the tracks are in the entertainment business. And in order for the tracks to draw spectators, they need a show. And when you do a delay box or a throttle stop like NHRA, nobody wants to watch, the Super Gas or Super Comp delay box. They all get up and leave. I mean, no, I don't want to watch it. The only people that like it are the people that race it. So without a throttle stop, it's heads up, wheels up, all the way down the racetrack, and the fans love it. And around here and in Dallas, they come by the droves. I mean, we have our own show and pack the stands for index racing because they love the index racing because it's heads up.
Oh, yeah.
So
we'll get 25. We've had 53 cars at a Topma race in the 7.0 index in one class with no delay boxes, no throttle stops.
Right.
And these guys are tough competitors. That's a huge pot when you're putting $100 in and then there's $1,000 on top or something. So 53 cars, I mean, that's $5,300 that's getting split up, usually back to the eighth. Sometimes Absolutely. They split to the quarters and the semis or whatever. And, it just makes for good fun. The winner's going home with a nice chunk of change. And you guys put on a great show. And honestly, you want to load your suspension off the hit. At a non-prep track, when you come back in when the delay box comes back in, even if it doesn't go all the way down to idle, you could get yourself in more trouble than it's worth.
Absolutely. I mean, it would be so dangerous to go in and off the throttle like that, down track. I mean, usually the start line's really good, and then it kind of gets a little hairy through the middle and down track. But, I mean, that's really not a problem. I've never actually even had a problem skating around. Maybe one time at Big Night and last weekend, and that's about it. The rest of the time, it's full on.
Yeah, but you're going to have even issues at prep track deals where you skate around on the big end sometimes if it's hot
and
out.
It happens. But I mean, you would definitely not want a throttle stop on a no prep. That is insane. You're asking for problems. When you come off the throttle and you hit it hard again, down track, that's not the place to load your suspension. Not at all. That's my personal opinion. I know these guys have a good handle on it that do that, but
they're doing it on a prep on a track that's sprayed, so they can come back into it softly. The throttle blades, you have real high dollar ones, and they look like scissors or whatever, and they open up slowly.
Right.
But as the rounds go on, you're just going to get more and more competitive, and the delay, all that stuff it could put you at risk.
Here's the deal with that. A throttle stop will never have a place in heads-up racing format. it will not have a place there because the fans will just shun away from it. They'll go, "What the hell is this?" They won't even understand it.
Yeah.
So they want to see heads up racing, and that's why we pack the stands, because it's heads up racing, wheels up racing. It's entertainment, and that's what brings the fans. That's what increases the purses. That's what helps the tracks. And now, because of all that, we have a brand new track, Extreme Motorsports Park.
Yeah.
I mean, Extreme Motorsports Park would not have been built if we had not built a fan base to support it first.
Yes.
So the throttle stops do not help our base for heads up racing, which Extreme Motorsports Park is all about. Now, it's great for NHRA, and I love those guys, and they've been doing it a long time. I've built a lot of their carburetors, understand the science behind it. You know, they work really hard at it. But for what we do, for the index racing that we do, it's called index racing. We do not use a throttle stop. Now, a delay box, you know, I mean, we have instant green on almost all this stuff, so, you know, delay box isn't going to help you anyway.
Well,
I mean,
some guys, Doomsday and Mayhem in Memphis, and well, Dirty South has gone to Pro Tree also, right?
Dirty South is a 410 street.
Yeah, so the delay box is really, you need to leave as soon as you see yellow. You don't need to be delaying that. Yeah. It's when you have 3 yellows in a regular non-pro tree that a delay box can help you more, but it's kind of redundant on
a lot of our cars can go, you know, 350, 370, you know, 380, and, you know, you need a delay box to, you know, so you could run a better tree, you know, the real light cars and stuff like that. But that's still, I mean, even in my car, a leaf spring car, I mean, you know, you can set a leaf spring car to run up on a 410 street. I'm living proof.
Yeah. I mean, you cut 4.0 lights all the time. And
I'm not saying what I cut, but I'm telling you, I can murder a tree. There's no doubt.
Isn't it funny?
I mean, I feel like I have a little bit better deal because I can actually work my rear suspension. If I'm a little too tight, I can actually loosen it up and come back a little bit. Like on an LED tree, LED tree is a little faster than an iridescent. Yeah. So, you know, I mean, I you know, I'm not saying anything about my combination, but, you know, there's definitely some tricks out there. Everybody's got them, but to take the throttle stop away from it brings fans. I mean, that's just math. So, you know, do away with the throttle stops, fans will come. If you have throttle stops, fans are going to go to the concession stand or not even come anymore because they don't even understand what the hell you're doing.
Yeah.
So, even the NHRA fans don't understand what you're doing. Only the guys that do it understand what they're doing. Yeah. And, you know, I support them. I'm not saying that's the wrong thing, but you don't try to mix the two. Like these bracket guys that have bracket races all the time, and they have throttle stops. They want to run an index race. By all means, you know, use throttle stops, whatever they want to do. But they don't have any fans at a bracket race anyway.
Yeah.
So,
and no prep has to be there for the fans, or it won't exist. Bracket racing is different because it has its own genre racer that's going to make the promoter or the track makes a little money by the people and the crew that comes in.
Right.
And they're not paying fully back, but a no prep is typically paying all of its entry money back to the racers for prize. So you don't want to take that away because, you know, it'll mess things up just because of that aspect is that all the money typically goes back to the racer that is used to buy a tech card. Now the promoters typically make their money off of all the gate.
Right. And so to that point, if you look at last week at DSMP, and all of DSMP's races on Saturday, they have free racer entry.
Yeah.
They do not charge anyone for racing on Saturday. And where's all that money coming from? Where's all the prize money coming from? It's coming from the gate.
Yeah.
Because the more racers they get there, the more fans they attract.
Yes.
And every racer that comes in brings fans, and they pay at the gate. So, but the racer doesn't have to pay for, you know, like you don't have to put $100 down to race index racing. And then where can you go to put $100 down and race for $4,000 and you're done that night? And then you race the next night and you're racing for thousands of dollars. I mean, this is the best deal in the whole wide world. I mean, I've raced bracket racing, and there's 60 cars in my class, and I'm there till 2:00 in the morning for $900.
Yeah,
you know, and I mean, I'm not saying that they're wrong or right. I'm just saying that we make a whole lot more money for a whole lot less rounds and a whole lot less entry.
Yeah.
So,
And you're not having to do all this testing and qualifying and all that stuff. But then talk a little bit about how the sponsorships and the help that you've given to certain pizzas and racers, but also how's that helped your business? Sponsorship does work for a small business owner like yourself because of the referrals and all that. But what have you seen come of it?
well, there's no doubt that the approach that I've taken this time, rather than advertising in National Dragster and some of the other publications, and I'm not trying to knock that or those people, but putting the money in the racer's purse has really had an outstanding effect to my business. We are really, really doing well. But I would encourage any small business that wants to, even if they're not associated with the performance industry, if you will put your name into put your money into the racers where they get that money back. The announcers, the promoters, and everybody do a great job of making sure that they put you out there. Like I went to DSMP, I didn't pay for those banners. They paid for those banners. I'm like, we didn't even make those, but we make banners, and they,
Yeah.
and so what I'm saying is they're doing an excellent job of taking your advertising dollars and turning it around. It is the best thing that I've ever seen. I mean, the turnaround. I know the economy is good, but everybody there. They know who your product is, and I try to tell people this at the drivers' meetings and so on. If there's somebody sponsoring your type of racing, it's not your duty, but I would say you need to help them back. That ought to be your first choice. If somebody's doing roofing and they're putting that in there, then you need to use them for roofing or refer them for roofing.
Yes.
Long as they can do a good job and they're reputable, and I think everybody in the whole game is reputable. Usually it's other racers, but I encourage other businesses that are non-performance related or just looking at a way to increase their business to get into this game and put a few dollars in. I mean, a couple $100 a race will get you a whole lot of money.
Yeah,
a whole lot of return.
Mike Murillo, Scott Taylor, Shannon Morgan, myself, a lot of the people, Donald Long, are not going to use sponsors that have a bad reputation because they don't want to be associated with that. So if a guy has a business and it's an automotive shop and he's got a bad reputation, they're not going to deal with that person because they don't want the headache of, hey, oh man, I used so and so to do my roof, and they're on your show and they did a shitty job. We don't want to deal with that. That's not our problem. So we're going to be selective of who we choose to be on at our event or on our show. And how has being a Thunder Roadshow sponsor since we started again on Facebook, how has that helped Davinci Performance? Well, you started a little bit after the show started, but have you seen return from that?
Yes, absolutely. Because the Thunder Roadshow also reaches out past my general area because we stay pretty close to the southwest side of United States. But you are in Australia, you're in the Northeast, you're in the Northwest, you're all over the world. Actually, I mean, I have turned people on to you in Michigan and Washington State, and so they're turning in, and then their friends are tuning in. So it helps me kind of get out of my area here. Plus, you're one of my buddies.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool having the relationship. When I get to announce an event that you're at, even when you're not there, I know people that are running your product, and I mention you even if you aren't sponsoring that particular event. But
just about all of them. If you came up there and you said, okay, if you had a list, this is Pam's idea. If you had a list of all the cars that came up and said, oh, he's running the Davinci carburetor, he's running, man. It's like in the no prep scene, it's just like all of them. I mean, we're pretty well saturated in there, and we intend on staying that way.
Yeah. Me and Michael Cole were out at the shootout at the park a few weeks ago at Houston Motor Park.
The weekend before last, right?
Yeah, and we saw a bunch of Davinci stickers on carburetors out there. A bunch.
Yeah. we enjoy racing. We're there for anybody. Even if you didn't have a Davinci carburetor, we're there for you. But
Absolutely. You fixed competitors' carburetors at the races for Jerry Bird.
Oh yeah. And one of the things I used to say a long time ago, I was like, man, if I'm gonna race you and your carburetor's not right, I'm gonna fix your carburetor so it runs perfect. So, you ain't got no excuses when I get the win line.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, we do that. I mean, we're just like any other racer. I mean, if you needed something, we had it in a trailer, bring it back or pay me for it, or, we'll help anybody.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it's just,
You didn't even know me, and you were willing to help me when I needed some jet extensions one night. So I mean,
yeah,
it's just
pay for them.
you didn't have them or something. You didn't have them in the trailer. So, but you did hook me up with the carburetor that's going on the Thunder wagon, and the carburetor that was on the Mustang for a while, and the one that was on my 468, and the one that was on my 461 before that. So I mean, you've done everything I've got. So, and I appreciate it. But I'm glad to have this 650 on the Thunder wagon. I got a Charlie horse in my leg, but sorry, I'm moving around over here. But dude, you do great work. I mean, my carburetor was fouling the plugs every time I drove it, and you fixed that problem on the small motor, and then it made great power on the big motor. Now you converted it to the 85, and I can't wait to get it fired up in the 85 to see how it's going to do on the 85.
I'll give a shout out to Frank Morgan up there in Michigan, who's running the Pro E85 up there, and I sponsored him this year, and he's been a great competitor up there. He qualified #1 and runner up at his very first race, and so he's doing real well up there. We're all happy to have Frank Morgan flying our flags up there, and just a shout out last night. Some people have been messaging me, man, they got my sticker on this Orange County Chopper show, and it was like right up front, right on that's like 14 years ago, and them guys still got my decals.
Hey man,
cool.
How cool is it that you were on that show with them? And I mean, were you excited when they said they're bringing it back?
Yeah. Anything having to do with motorsports or anything, building something, I mean, I'm interested in. We were watching Street Outlaws last night, and then it came on, and then like one of the first scenes, it had this big Davinci decal, one of our old decals, but on this machine. I mean, it was like front and center. I was like, hey man, that's pretty cool. And then all of a sudden I started getting all these messages, and but anyways, that was kind of a pop-up surprise.
Yeah, it's cool. I was out announcing at Extreme Motorsports Park and the new track you were talking about, and you're not even an official track sponsor, but the banner looks so good that Pam did and matched their colors that it's still on the fence after redemption. And I'm like, hey, and I mentioned Davinci carburetors, and it was cool. You got a freebie there.
Well, I don't know about all free, but
but you got extra exposure.
We are working with the track. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
We've been doing all the Galen stuff, and Galen's just great to us, and Shannon Morgan and all that. We just can't wait to go back to that track. That track is absolutely the best track I've ever been to.
And the audio system is amazing. I love everything about it. Clyde Scott.
Except for where they have the drivers' meeting in the pavilion, that you can't hear anything in the pavilion, but you can hear it everywhere else in the rest of the track. So when they're announcing in the pavilion, you can't even hear anything in there. At least that was my experience on the very first race. So maybe they put a couple speakers in there.
Yeah, I think that was the second weekend they were open. So maybe Clyde is working hard every week, and he takes the suggestions, and as long as somebody's mentioned it to him, I'm sure it's getting taken care of, because he's doing a great job of making that a racer's track.
Yeah. Well, we sponsor that track 100%. Anything they want to do, if they need, anything that we can do to help sponsor them, we're in.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, dude, I really appreciate you coming on and talking about your 580 experience, your index racing, and how much you love it at No Prep. I'm going to Mayhem in Memphis, and this is the second No Prep they've done, or second or third, but the first one was filmed for Street Outlaws, and it's kind of one where they're doing it with a new promoter. And the bracket racers in the Memphis, Mississippi, Arkansas area, there where Memphis is, the surrounding areas are not used to index racing. They're not used to no prep, but the excitement there, the energy at those shows, no matter really who's putting it on, is usually electric, and everybody's having a good time.
Well, good luck out there, and just we'll be watching for you. And just a big shout out to everybody that supports me. I appreciate it so very much, and Pam and I both do. And we look forward to seeing you at the racetrack.
Very cool. And yeah, it will be live streamed. Mayhem in Memphis will be live streamed on Fueled Media's Facebook page, or 662 is his Facebook page. So you'll be able to see live stream this weekend. Birdman and Kayla and Boosted Ego and Sean Wilhoit will all be there, plus some of the Memphis guys and whoever else shows up. I think Barry Nicholson's coming. So it'll be a cool deal. I'm looking forward to it. So Mayhem in Memphis this weekend.
If the weather decides to change around here, if it looks bad, like we're not going to get this thing off this weekend, shoot, Pam and I might just load up with the dog and head north.
Come on, man. Well, I'll save you a spot.
I've seen us do it before.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But if not, you're going to be at Dig Night with Jared Thompson and James Kay, one of your other customers.
Yeah, we're supporting that deal. In fact, we're going to have a live stream tomorrow night. About 7:30 is what Jared said. So we're going to be doing a live stream tomorrow, I think, from the racetrack.
Okay, cool. So, well, tomorrow night, too, remember to take in consideration AJ Taylor, who does the True Street Productions live stream on Wednesday nights, is having me and about 4 I'm honored to be asked. He's doing an announcer show. So he's got some local announcers. Just make note of that.
I might be wrong. It might be Thursday.
Yeah.
I might be wrong.
But anyway, so maybe they can do that or work around it or something. And remember,
absolutely.
AJ does a great job. He's 16 years old. He's going to be a junior in high school. He's getting some of the biggest interviews. He's had Daryl Bird on. He's had Keith Haney. And then he asked for announcers for tomorrow night's show, and he asked me. I was one of the first ones, and I appreciate, because I've been helping mentor him on live streaming and podcasting and encouraging him. And I met him at Coffeyville Street Drags. He's a good kid, and he's doing a good job. I would not have done a live stream at 16 years old and asked people to be on it. And I love doing this shit, and it's my livelihood, and I love it, and I love announcing. But at 16, to be out there trying to get professionals to come on your show, we got to support this kid, because he's going to do big things.
Heck yeah.
Yep. So we'll definitely have to get.
That's my name out. I mean, I'm always good for.
Yeah, you're a great interview, dude.
Want to?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'll mention it.
I'll be happy to help you.
Yeah, cool deal. So I got asked today to do a podcast with a friend of mine from high school who's doing one because he's been following what I'm doing, and it's kind of, he looks at it as like a success story kind of deal, and we're doing a good show, and we've been on the air for quite a while now, and we're growing it, and so it was kind of an honor. It's kind of an honor to get asked to do some cool stuff like that,
Well, you're doing a great job out there, Doug. I mean, I'm one of your fans.
Hey, man, I appreciate that. That means a lot to me, because I've always known of Dan Davinci. You've always been the dude at HMP or wherever, and to have you as a fan, I appreciate it. No, and you're a celebrity. You were on TV well before any of us. Hey, can I have one too?
Yeah.
So being on Orange County Choppers. So you're excited about that? Coming back? They're coming back.
I mean, I'm waiting for the call. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that'd be cool if you can get back on there and then get some more time. Hi, Pam. How you doing?
Beautiful Pam.
Yeah, I'm a fan of you too.
Hey, and you know what? One of my fondest memories is doing the engagement at Lone Star Resurrection. You guys did, and her semi-surprising her and all that. And it was cool doing that. I'm glad I was able to be part of that. You got any more in there? So
what are you looking for?
We're requesting beers from the beer guy, the beer intern. I'm dry and I can't get any beer. I got to put the top back on.
That's why the show gets better as it goes along.
Exactly. You gotta, and I don't drink that much, so I reserve it for bowling night and for the Thunder Road Show. So
I heard that don't drink that much, but you don't drink any more either, right?
Exactly. Well, I do. I cut way back because I'm trying to get.
What you got there? What kind of beer you got there?
It's
Oh hell yeah! We're straight from Texas.
yeah, Shiner from Shiner, Texas. So,
Yeah.
you know, I really have cut back because I'm trying to get down in the 240 range by the end of the month, 250 range by the end of the month. So there is a method to my madness, and I've lost 80 pounds. So, you know, it's working.
Yeah.
That's great.
And you're still drinking beer. I mean, that ought to be a commercial.
Bye, Pam. Thank you. So yeah, it ought to be. You know, I need to go. You know, like they do. They have the celebrities that do Weight Watchers. Shiner
Yeah.
Block needs to do a commercial with me and say, "Hey, look, this guy's still drinking our beer, and he's lost."
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, I mean, what a great promotion for Shiner Block. You know,
absolutely.
hey,
look at this guy.
look
You
at this
could be
guy.
this guy.
you could still get healthy and drink some Shiner.
Yeah.
I mean,
look how healthy this guy is, and he drinks Shiner.
yeah. So come on, Shiner. Tim Thomas, you need to make this happen, dude. He's already got a
Right.
connection with them. I don't know how many times we got to drink the beer on the show before they decide to spend some money with us. Come on, guys. I'm gonna go back to Ziegenbach if you don't step up to the plate.
Oh my god.
I'm just saying. Nothing from nothing.
Right.
All right, dude. Well, hey, we appreciate the time. We got to get the Better with Bob segment. How do you like
Gotcha.
that? Do you like the safety talk on the Better with Bob segment?
Yeah.
We're talking about diapers.
Yeah.
Diapers? Yeah, we're going to talk about parachutes tonight.
Hell yeah.
There you go.
So, anyway, and if you
See,
need, so
everybody has to have a diaper. Everybody has to have a diaper.
yep, or a tray,
You have to put one on.
or a tray.
Yeah.
Catch
a
can.
tray or
Tray.
a diaper.
So,
Please.
Tell us about Pam's Printing Company. Give us a shout out for that, and anybody else who helps you on your car.
Okay, come here, Daryl. Here, say a few words. This is the gal to do all your printing. I mean, she's been doing it for 20 years. She has every piece of equipment.
30?
She does all of.
You're not old
the
enough
Stuff,
Who, me? I've been doing it for 30 years.
Okay.
He was being sweet.
I love
He didn't want to throw your age out there. He was being sweet.
Well,
Yeah.
I started doing it when I was in
Not
elementary.
her age.
Okay, gotcha. 39 forever, right, Pam?
Yeah, I own performance printing. I do stickers for Birdman. I do shirts for Birdman. I've done some other stuff for a lot of the other racers. We do the checks, the stickers for DSMP. So we do a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Well, cool. So how do we get in contact with you?
Yeah.
My number at the office is 832-777-0257.
39 forever, right, Pam?
Or
39 forever.
yes, 39 forever.
Somebody's phone was on.
You can get a hold of me. I mean, Davinci, and I'll look you up with her. Or,
Yeah, send him a
on
message.
Facebook.
She
Yeah,
runs
send
the
me a message.
Facebook page anyway, so she'll get the message.
Right.
All
Thanks,
right.
everybody, for watching.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming
Appreciate it.
on. Great job. We're going to take this. Muncie's going to take this interview tomorrow, and we'll post it separately on the page. So thanks for coming on Thunder Road Show.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, bud.
Good night.
Good night.